In 2017, a young actress flew to Los Angeles to chase her dream. She booked 2 nights at the historic Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. Famous for its old glamour and celebrity guests, she was given room 213. The front desk clerk hesitated before handing her the key. "Let us know if anything feels off," he said, a little too seriously. She laughed it off. That night, she settled in and FaceTimed her mom. As they talked, her mom suddenly stopped mid-sentence and asked, "Is someone behind you?" She turned. Nothing there. Just the large, full-length mirror on the wall. She waved it off, probably a weird reflection. Later that night, she woke up around 2 a.m. Her room was ice cold. Then she saw it. The mirror was fogged up, like someone had breathed on it from the inside. As she stared, a handprint slowly appeared. Long fingers. Too long. She grabbed her phone to take a photo, but the screen glitched out. Just static. Then it went black. When she looked back at the mirror, the handprint was gone. But now there was something else. A faint outline. A figure. Standing behind her reflection even though no one was there. She didn't sleep. She sat frozen until sunrise. At checkout, she showed the front desk her cracked phone. The clerk looked at the room number and just nodded. "You're not the first," he said. '28 Universal Studios, 2013. A commercial crew was packing up late at night on Soundstage 28, one of the oldest stages on the lot. It was used to film The Phantom of the Opera in 1925. The original set still stood inside. A grip named Jordan stayed behind to wrap cables. He was alone, or at least he thought he was. Around 1 a.m., he heard footsteps above on the catwalk. He called out, thinking someone forgot something. No response, but the footsteps kept going, pacing back and forth. Then they stopped. Silence, until the lights cut out. Complete black. Jordan pulled out his phone and turned on the flashlight. He aimed it upward. That's when he saw it. A figure, standing perfectly still on the catwalk, wearing a long cloak. Face pale, eyes wrong, unblinking, wide, like porcelain. He stumbled backward and hit the ground. When he looked up again, the figure was gone. Security reviewed the footage. Nothing. No one entered. No one left. And yet, Jordan wasn't the only one. A week later, another crew refused to finish filming there. They all heard the same thing, pacing footsteps, and soft, labored breathing from the rafters. The stage was shut down for structural issues the next year, but those who worked there know better. James Dean was a rising star, young, talented, rebellious. But what followed him was something darker. In 1955, he bought a Porsche 550 Spider. He nicknamed it Little Bastard. Multiple people warned him the car was cursed. Actor Alec Guinness said the car gave him a sick feeling. He told Dean, "If you drive that thing, you'll be dead in a week." 7 days later, Dean died in a fiery crash. But the curse didn't stop with him. The car's wreckage was sold to a man named George Barris. He stripped parts and sold them to other racers. One buyer died when his car spun out. Another was paralyzed in a freak crash. The remaining shell of the Porsche was put in a highway safety exhibit. At one event, it fell off its mount and shattered a man's hip. In 1960, the car vanished from a locked rail car during transport. Gone. No trace. Some believe the car is still out there, that it finds people, that it likes to be seen and feared, and that whoever owns it next won't live long enough to enjoy it. the 1950s, a screenwriter checked into the Roosevelt's room 928. He was at the end of his rope. The industry had chewed him up and spit him out. His last script had been rejected by every studio in town. One night, he opened the window, threw his typewriter out, and jumped after it. They found the jazz radio still playing in the background. Decades later, in 2012, a couple was accidentally checked into room 928. It was supposed to be closed for maintenance. That night, they heard soft jazz playing from somewhere in the room. But the TV was off. There was no radio. The husband got up to check. That's when he noticed the typewriter. Old, heavy, sitting on the desk. He laughed, said it was probably a prop. Then the keys started moving, one by one. No fingers, just keys typing. The husband reached for it. The machine stopped. Then a sheet of paper slowly fed out. 6 words typed across the top. Get out. He's still writing. They left that night. Didn't even ask for a refund. Room 928 was sealed the following year. It was 1998. A low-budget teen drama was filming its 3rd season on Stage 5 at Paramount Studios. The show wasn't a hit, but it had a cult following, and the crew was tight-knit. One afternoon, a new assistant editor named Rachel was reviewing raw footage in the edit bay. Just normal takes, actors laughing, flubbing lines, joking with the crew. But then, she saw something odd. A scene that no one remembered filming. The lead actress was sitting in her dressing room staring directly into the camera, completely silent, pale. The footage looked older, grainier, like it had been filmed on different stock. And the timestamp? 4:44 a.m. They never filmed that early. Rachel asked the DP, "Did you guys shoot a pickup scene or test shot?" He said no. They rolled the footage again. This time, the actress whispered something. Rachel leaned in. It was just 3 words. He never left. Suddenly, the tape glitched and stopped. When they tried to rewind, nothing. The file corrupted itself and the entire scene disappeared. They asked the actress about it. She turned pale. I've never filmed that. I've never even worn that dress. 2 weeks later, the show was abruptly canceled. The final aired episode was missing 30 seconds of audio. A gap. Just silence. If you crank up the volume during that stretch, you can barely make out the same whisper Rachel heard that day. He never left. In 2015, a young screenwriter named Daniel moved into a guest house in Studio City. It was cheap, quiet, and tucked behind a larger house owned by a retired casting agent. The landlord was odd, soft-spoken, always watching from the kitchen window. But Daniel needed the space to finish his horror script. Every night, Daniel stayed up late writing, and that's when the knocking started. Not on the door, on the windows. Soft taps, always from different windows. Sometimes at the front, sometimes from the side, 5 feet off the ground. He thought it was a raccoon or tree branch, until one night he caught a glimpse. A man standing just outside, thin, wearing what looked like a mask, too pale, almost featureless, like rubber or wax. Daniel ran outside with a flashlight. Nothing. No footsteps, no one on the street. This happened 3 nights in a row. On the 4th, the landlord slipped a note under his door. It read, "He's always looking for writers. Just don't let him in." Daniel confronted him the next day, thinking it was some sick joke. The landlord just stared and said, "He used to be one of us, but now he only writes in blood." Daniel moved out that night, left half his things behind. Weeks later, he looked up deaths in the area. In 1992, a failed screenwriter in that same guest house was found dead in his bathtub. Eyes gouged out, fingers broken, and a script clutched in his hand. The title page read, "Let Me In."